Hey there, everyone. Welcome into another edition of the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's great to be alongside all of you here for another great day. As always, joined alongside by Gavin, Tony. Gavin, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. I got a lot of sleep last night. For once, I actually went to sleep early. I didn't go to sleep at 1:30, and so I went to sleep around 10:30, and I feel energized today. Hopefully, I can stop yawning, but I don't believe I will. But how you doing today? Any golf?
Just driving range yesterday. Not much golf for me. I got some baseball tonight though. It's gonna be fun. I think that it's gonna be nice
Ooh,
to finally get out and be able to play. So all good.
yeah. Um, I saw that little leagues are getting back together and starting to play baseball. So that gives me hope that society is starting to get their head back on straight, and we can go move forward.
I agree. I agree. So, other than that, though, folks, we got an exciting show for you today. We had our first live Philadelphia sports this morning with the Philadelphia Union. We're gonna break all that down just a little bit. I do want to kick off today's show, similar theme to how it's been all week, just kind of touching on the whole situation with Deshaun Jackson and a few other things like that. Again, my goal as a person that's personally affected, being a Jewish American, is for you, the viewers, to be able to watch firsthand kind of what my thought process is and what my experience is. And today I am a little bit more. I have an opportunity to reflect. I'm still not fully satisfied and a little upset. I do want to talk a little bit more. There are some promising things coming out of this, but just intriguing to notice the interesting change in dynamic as far as versus like anti-Semitism and obviously with racism in this country. Gavin, we know very much so. We're not going to compare the two, saying like, oh, who has it worse. It's not about that. It's about moving forward. And so, one could argue that systemic racism is a bigger issue than anti-Semitism, or vice versa, or history, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's about just acknowledging the facts, understanding the background of things, just kind of understanding where we can go from there. So, I don't know if appalled is the right word to say today, but I'm definitely a little more upset than I've been the past previous days as far as some of the support that we, as the Jewish community, have really received as far as a lot of the non-Jewish community out there. And so it's not, again, for those who are aware, we've been talking a lot on the show about equality and about unity and how important it is no matter what. You can't, in my opinion, Gavin, you can definitely agree or disagree with me, but you either allow racism to happen in this country, or anti-Semitism, or any form of oppression to people simply because they're a minority or different, or you stand up against it, and you can't choose which ones you get to align yourself with. Now, after the killing of George Floyd, obviously it brought up the question of police brutality, which is not a new concept. It's been around for a long time. And so, one thing Gavin and I did, we
Long,
spoke
yeah.
about how we can contribute to the society. And one thing that the African American community did, and one thing the Black community really was focused on, was making sure that us as non-Black people in this country stand up with them, because they can't fight this fight alone. And that's obvious. And Gavin, you definitely can echo this as much as I can, or even more. And so I'll let you get some of your thoughts before I continue, as far as how important it is for those who are being oppressed, for those who are under scrutiny, for the people, the majority, to come behind them and to defend them and stand with them, so that we can ultimately achieve our goal of unity in this country.
Well, first I want to go into the Sean Jackson comments. I've been reflecting and learning, and I had a great talk with another friend that's part of the Jewish community, and just trying to learn and speak in ways where I can help out in my with my voice, and try to bring others from the Black community, and hopefully just everybody together, so we can speak out on some things. Whether it's racism in this country or anti-Semitism too. We just want equality, and everybody's equal. Remember, we all breathe the same air. God didn't want us to be different. He would have made us all the same. But he believed, different religions and different races would be fine all together and work all together. Right now, we're not proving that we can work all together, because right now we're all pointing fingers at one another instead of working with each other to be together to beat the things that are going on in this world. So I saw something this morning and I shared it with you. It was Julie Edelman and offering Deshaun Jackson a chance to go to the American Holocaust, or the Holocaust Museum in Washington D.C. I know Zach, we had the chance to go, and also going to the Black History Museum, or the African American History Museum in Washington as well. That is a great opportunity, and I hope If you got two NFL players who I hope they do go, that are willing to, or that are going to go learn about things that they both may or may not be educated well on. And, to see someone, players of that stature or people of that stature, to go do that, I hope that, and, inspires others to go do the same. Whether, if you're going with a Jewish friend or a black friend, you don't have to do that. You could just go for yourself without taking, anyone from, their respective communities to go with you. Education is key right now. We're in a point where America needs to be educated. Americans and people, all races and religions, need to be educated. So I think that's a fantastic idea. But yeah, equality, and love everybody, respect everybody. They don't have the same opinion as you, or you don't believe in the same religion as you. That's okay. That's okay. Instead of saying it's wrong, let's learn. Zach, let's learn. Let's learn to be with one another instead of being against one another. I think that's a really big problem right now. And I want to get your thoughts about the Julian Edelman and Deshaun Jackson. The Julian Edelman.
I said this before. I've said it before that I think for Deshaun Jackson, assuming his intentions were not in hatred towards the Jewish community, I can't confidently say that. But for the sake of the argument, I can take the benefit of the doubt for Deshaun Jackson's case. I said this before. I said I think it's a great opportunity for him to learn and now potentially outreach for the Jewish community. One of the biggest elements of the problems in this country are poor education, as far as about culture, about differences, about who Hitler is, to be quoting him or be confident enough to post out on your story for your thousands of your followers, including Jewish people and other minorities, to read. So I think it's fascinating. I think that it hopefully can be a great opportunity. I hope to hear about it. And so, Gavin, you and I, we mentioned this before, we can document our experience of going through a lot of these different things and being able to continue to learn. I think that ignorance is when you are educated and choose not to take action. Uneducated just means you simply don't know. I hope for Deshaun Jackson's case, it's not ignorance. I hope that it's the lack of education. But I do want to circle back to what I was saying, Gavin. You definitely said you agreed as far as it takes more than just the community being oppressed to really overcome these circumstances in order for the Civil Rights Act to be signed. A president of the United States who was white signed it, Lyndon Baines Johnson. And so Dr. King went up and met with him and met with other politicians. It takes a team. As Americans, we should all be united. So for me, it's just a little fascinating right now to see that the only people really speaking out against Deshaun Jackson are the Jewish community. Max Kellerman, who's a Jewish member, Mitchell Schwartz, the offensive lineman on the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs, Julian Edelman, who actually he was Jewish but did not align himself with the Jewish heritage until actually later in life. That's something I just learned today about. It's never too late to go back to your heritage and enjoy it. Yeah, no, definitely. So it's for me personally, I consider myself to be more tough in certain areas as far as from a mental level, but you can't assume that for everybody. There are Jews I know personally that are hurt because of the lack of outreach, the lack of speaking out. For example, guys like Malcolm Jenkins, who very quickly, a lot of respect to Malcolm, and he's done a lot of great for the Black community in Philadelphia. He's remained silent on this issue. And again, you don't have to be loud on social media. You could be doing things behind the scenes. I could be mistaken, but the fact that I've not seen any non-Jewish people standing by the community. For me personally, again, for me, I like to take the benefit of the doubt, but some people aren't. Some people are taking this very strongly to heart, and it's upsetting for my community to see people. For example, I've seen tons of Jewish members who have stood up for the Black Lives Matter movement and have stood up for other movements, and I continue to do so. I continue to fight. We all should, not for our own benefit, but because we want to help and we want to make this country better so that people can have equal opportunity to be great and do great things. And so for my community, just trying to speak with people, it is a little bit upsetting right now. So for you out there, I'm not asking you to share on social media as long as you're learning and listening. And I hope that the people listening to this show, I have nothing but faith that these are all good people that watch our show. So I know for our community who I'm preaching to already are aware of this, but hopefully this message can get out there that you can't remain silent. You can't cherry pick which things you go along with. Outside of the Eagles organization and the NFL directly, I haven't heard the NFLPA make any statements against Deshaun Jackson, and I feel like it's kind of being swept under the rug in a way. And it's not because I want the attention on Deshaun. It's not because I want Deshaun to be attacked, but I want people to learn and understand that anti-Semitism is still an issue in this country. And so I'm not going to sit here and say I feel scared to walk outside. I don't feel scared if a policeman pulls me over, the same way that perhaps someone who, Gavin, you mentioned this before, how you felt personally, how you felt pretty much isolated because of your skin color. I've had similar experiences, but not to that heavy extent. So I understand where the lines definitely are drawn. But for me, I don't understand why we haven't heard more about this incident. First Take spoke about it for about 15 minutes at most the past 3 days. It's a little bit sad for me to hear, and so we'll also touch on Steven Jackson's comments in a few minutes, who did actually defend Deshaun Jackson, only person to do so in the public manner. So I don't know. It's just kind of me trying to understand why we're not hearing more about this topic. And as a Jewish American, it might be tough for me to, again, I don't want my emotions to overtake my thought process, but I want to understand why we're not necessarily seeing as much conversation. I don't want to say outrage, because outrage doesn't accomplish much, in my opinion. It's about the conversation. And I hope the Julian Edelman, Deshaun Jackson thing really opens things up. And I wish more people really did take a stand for it. But I mean, what can you do? I mean, we're doing our best. I'm making sure I speak out to our platform. And I hope that we can continue to educate. And Gavin, you and I spoke about direct actions we can take to help improve conditions, and then continue the process in times where we're either going to a protest or to stand by you in certain situations for the Black Lives Matter movement, and other things like that. I'm there for you. And I know you're there for me for the whole Jewish element, and making sure that we're getting equality, and we're not letting people make incorrect comparisons to someone who killed 6 million of the Jewish community, and even additional millions of other minorities, including Black people, including gays, including other races and cultures. People don't know that. And so I'm curious if people knew that about Hitler, even just for the Black community, if maybe Deshaun Jackson didn't quote that, maybe also the lack of education can be a factor as well. So that's why the conversation needs to be started, so that we can begin the education process.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong, and silence is not a great time during this time. You cannot be silent, especially if you know there's something that's going wrong right now, and you see it and you're silent. I can't, but you want to be vocal on other things. It's not the time. It's not the time to be silent. All right, we have voices. People that have voices, they're used for a lot of things, and this is one of them right here. To be heard, your voice does matter. It may seem like it doesn't, even though, but like a whole bunch of voices together, it matters. Look at what happened in Minnesota. Their voices were, heard, and around the world too. And also, there was a little bit of violence involved, which I don't like violence, but sometimes things happen where violence happens, and their voices were heard, and the officers got arrested. Sadly, some were let go on bail, but I'm not gonna get into that because that's a totally different feeling how I feel about that. But your voice matters, and if you're being silent during this time, I have to look at you and be like, why? Why are you being silent? Is there something that you don't like what's going on? Because in my opinion, if silence is not an answer during times where we need voices the most, Malcolm Jenkins, we don't know if Malcolm Jenkins is being vocal off social media, but you're quick to be vocal on social media. So why can't we be vocal on this? As a black man, there's a lot going on around African American community, or the black community, if you would like to say. But even though there's a lot going on around, my race, my people, you know, I'm still gonna like you said, sir. Like I got your back. Like I'm gonna still speak with you. Like I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna continue to use my voice for not only my issues that's going on in this country, but also for other issues too. That's the reason why you have a voice. You can say more than one thing. Social media is a big platform where you can say a lot of things. Some things are really bad. Some things are good. Some things are in between. I hope Deshaun Jackson goes. I hope Julian Edelman and Deshaun Jackson both go. I hope it opens doors. Um, I know the NBA players are going to the bubbles, but hopefully, they can also speak up. I would like to see them also focus their attention on, anti-Semitism too, and speaking up for, for the Jewish community as well. I had great talks the past couple of days, with you and, some other people, and just learning some things. And that's the key right now is learning. I know, it's, might be weird for say, like, people would be saying, well, why do we need to learn? Because clearly we don't know. There's some things that you may have not known. There's some things I may have not known either. That's the beauty in learning. You can still learn. There's been people that go back to college and when they're 70s, they just still learn some things. So I think learning is always, you're always going to be learning something new. So me personally, like I really do hope Deshaun Jackson goes with Julian Edelman. I hope they both go, and I hope they both have a great time, and I hope they both learn one thing. I hope the respect factor can open doors to others. But right now, and with the whole NFL, PA, and NFL, they're not doing what I wanted them to do. I want them to speak up and speak out. It shouldn't, like, for baseball. I read a quote by Mookie Betts. He, when asked about how the baseball handled the George Floyd killing and everything, he said they didn't do what they should have did. I don't. For those that didn't know, I don't think baseball really came out. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't think baseball came out with a statement or said anything that was really meaningful or backed anybody up. Ladies and gentlemen, the best baseball players of all time, majority of them are black. Barry Bonds, um, Ken Griffey Jr. You know, I can go on and on.
Satchel Paige, Jackie Robinson, a big impact. So, and I don't want to trace it back. You make a fantastic point. And so, yes, this thing too, the key is if you don't know, then ask questions. I was silent in the beginning during the George Floyd killing. Gavin, I learned from you. I researched. I did what I could. And you're doing it similar now. Now, I don't think that everyone is as comfortable going out on social media and doing things, but it doesn't mean they're not doing things behind the scenes. The people I'm specifically trying to talk to right now, they're very quick to get to social media for certain issues. And if we're going to have equality and if we're going to be equal, it doesn't matter what skin color you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter any of those things. If you're not speaking out right now against anti-Semitism and you worry about racism, I'm not going to question your character, but it makes me think maybe you don't understand. Maybe you need to be taught, and that's totally okay. But I'm trying to understand. Again, I'm still going through the learning process. And the great thing about our show, the great thing about me personally, I'm fully open to be open and speak about it and let all of you have the opportunity to watch me grow and understand the situation. But why are they staying silent if they have no problem? Like when Drew Brees made comments, and I'll say it like this: people agreed with what Drew Brees said, and there's many people very vocal that disagree with what Drew Brees said. Very quickly, it all happened. Nobody, at least nobody should, who's educated, agrees with Hitler. Yet no one spoke out anywhere near the level of where it was for against Drew Brees. And in addition to that, nobody agrees with Hitler. It's like you have to be educated, and maybe you aren't educated, and so the school system hasn't been great as far as the history perspective, and it goes back to poorly funded schools. We can tie that back for a lot of the inner city kids, which a lot of them are predominantly black students who don't get the same opportunity. But that's why social media is great. If you're posting on social media, if you're forming opinions about the black community, obviously you know enough and you're confident to speak about it. But so for people that are already, if you're not comfortable being vocal on social media, I get it. If you're not speaking, you might be doing things behind the scenes. But when you're Malcolm Jenkins or LeBron James, or even a guy like Carson Wentz who openly spoke about racism as he should in his position, he puts a lot of black players. He knows a lot of people personally. It's the right thing to do to use your platform. Why is nobody talking right now? Is it that they don't view anti-Semitism? And it's okay if they think this way. They're entitled to their own opinions as long as they're not directly hurting other people. But do they think that anti-Semitism is not a big enough issue? Or I get it, quoting a man who killed 6 million people versus actually killing a person by putting your knee on their neck. I get it. It's different things. But what about the shootings in Pittsburgh? Again, we're not talking about who had it worse, but it has to go both ways. I'm going to stand up for the black community, not because I think the black community is going to stand up with me, but because I know that that's the equal and the right thing to do. And Gavin, I know you feel the same way. So I'm trying to understand now why we aren't hearing more. And for me, I mean, it is definitely, Gavin, I'm sure if no person who wasn't of color was speaking out against the George Floyd killing, it would be very devastating for you to hear. So hopefully it does give our viewers a better understanding of my personal perspective, and more importantly, many other Jews that I know that are very hurt right now because nobody's standing with them. They feel alone. We feel like we're on an island fighting this by ourselves after we've spent months now, and we're going to continue to. We're not going to stop because of this. We're going to continue to fight for equal rights for black Americans, for any people of color, for any religion, anyone for that matter. That I'm just trying to help the people understand how some Jews are currently feeling, and it's devastating for a lot of them.
Well, I want you to know you're not on an island by yourself. And this comes as people who agree with Hitler are people who believe it was trying to do. What he did was not okay. Killing is killing, no matter who or what or how. That's true.
I agree, 100%.
To go back to what I was saying, you're not on the island. Everybody's fighting, and I'm gonna take it a step back, or I'm a step deeper. You know, people are fighting personal battles as well. They're not on the island either. They're not alone. There's someone else that's fighting a different battle, whether it's depression,
Definitely.
stress, anxiety, uh, drugs, anything. They're not an island. Everybody has one another's back. It may not feel like it sometimes. It may not seem like it, but excuse my language, but I'd be damned if someone were to say, you know, you're alone, because that's not true. It's like that kid at lunch. You don't want them to sit by yourself. So what do? You invite them over. That just goes to show there's always someone with you, even if they don't, even if you can't see them 100%, 100% of the time. Like I always back you. No matter what it is. I know back in the day, there was something you were trying to do, and I supported you 100% on it. And then, sir, you completed it, and you're still going fine. And I think you know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to say it on here. And so I mean, I'm always gonna back you and everybody else. I'm gonna always speak for what's right and what's right. And to go back to one point when you said it would be devastating to hear someone speak against the George Floyd killing, sir, I had someone. I don't normally do this. I went on my Instagram late at night scrolling, and someone that just graduated from our school, and he said whoever was protesting against police is stupid. And I wrote, I said, I've never seen someone so wrong before ever. And he said he was willing to have an open conversation. So I'm like, you know what? Sure, this is going to be telling one of those educated moments. And I stated my opinion. I stated my feeling. And the first thing he said was, I don't believe it. He said, using a chokehold is necessary. And I said, how is it necessary on someone that's face down on the ground? And it has their hands on their back. You tell me when a chokehold is necessary with someone that can't defend themselves. You tell me when it's necessary for anyone, black or white, anybody, Jewish, and like anybody. You should not choke someone if they cannot defend themselves against it. And there's three. It's 3-on-1 on that on Mr. Floyd. God, and God rest his soul and rest in power, brother. Because this is not going to go anytime soon. He also had the nerve to tell me that the people that bars into Miss Taylor's home and had the wrong address should not be arrested. How can you be? And at this point in time, I know I probably shouldn't have not stopped, but I said you're just a lost cause because you just made statements that, one, you're pissing me off at 1 in the morning. Everybody's asleep in my house. I'm not going to start screaming and getting mad. You're pissing me off at 1 in the morning. You are a lost cause. I'm not going to sit here and try to educate someone that's so lost. And it's a shame there's people like that in the world. And the scenario I've been using, this is my final statements on this. The statement I've been telling people that A, that don't understand, or B, don't know how to feel, or just see, or just completely on the wrong side of being a human or being on the race. I say, what? And I said, what if that was me in that scenario? And the first thing they always say, Zach, is they always say, well, we would have did this, we would have did that. So what makes a difference if it was him versus me? Why can't we do the same? Why can't we speak up for him and stuff? And they always say, well, we didn't know him. Do you have to know somebody? I don't know everyone in the Jewish community to speak up, to speak up for them. I know you don't know everyone in the black community to speak up for them, but we do it because that's what's right, and that's what human beings are. All right, and it just kills me that people think this way. It really does, and it's disgusting that the human beings that they think this way. If you think some things are that went on that are acceptable and have no justification, or I wouldn't have a serious conversation with you. I really do.
As we transition now, the key takeaway, and we're always going to end every show like this: educate first, and then that's how you determine the ignorance. I think it's so important to never be closed-minded and to just be open and just listen. No matter how right or wrong someone might be, just let them speak, and then take it in and understand it. And Gavin, you brought up a great point. I'm sorry you had to go through that story. It's part of life, and I hate to say it. For us, I personally feel like I have an opportunity to educate people, and I think that it's so important. And a comment here, if you're human, we're all human, and again, we continue as a society to advance. And the ability to have these conversations shows you the great opportunity we have here, especially on our show. We look forward to continuing to educate and teach people
Always.
about different things in life. So that's my final statement, Gavin. Anything else you wanted to touch on with that?
I'll save it for my final remarks at the end of the show.
Gotcha. Definitely, everyone, make sure you're always educating, always checking on your friends. Gavin mentioned personal battles people have. It's always just always more to the
Never know.
story than you have.
Never know.
Absolutely, you never know. So thank you for listening to that, everybody. We appreciate all of you. Do stick around for the non-sports element. We will continue this discussion. It's certainly not over. We will not be finished with this fight until this world is perfect, and I hope that can one day be for at least our kids' generation in the future to continue fighting. But with that being said, we're now going to transition to what does unite us all, and we hope to continue to do so as sports continue to pick up here in the month of July. Only
Yep.
6 days away from Gavin. Only 6 days from Gavin's birthday. Less than 2 weeks from baseball and potentially basketball in the preseason or the pregame scrimmages, I guess they'll say. But let's first talk about the first Philadelphia sports team back. We're 1-0 not post-pandemic, but during pandemic. The Philadelphia Union won 1-0 against NYCFC today. So, Gavin, I know you have some stats, so you wanted to read off. Let's get some of your thoughts, get some of mine, and we'll continue to progress through our topics.
For yes, and our soccer insider, our MLS insider, John Warner, will be with us someday next week. We do not know what day, but he will be here to break this game down even more. I got some stats for you guys. So the Philadelphia Union only took 8 shots to their 18. Only 4 of our shots were on target, meaning they hit the net. So you got to think about it. So really, 7 shots, 7 shots, 1 went in, and 3 that were, and then 3 out of 4, 1 went in that were on target. So there are 18 shots and there are 9 shots on target. The time of possession was 56%. So they controlled the ball the majority of the game. New York did. For us, it was only 44%. So here's what I'm appalled by. I don't know much about soccer. I can't wait for John to get on here. Maybe he can help me out with this. 8 fouls to our 10. We have a lot of fouls. We got to clean that up. We had 3 yellow cards to their 1. Once again, we got to clean that up, guys. 0 red cards for both teams. That's good. Offsides, they split 1v1 apiece, and they had 8 corners to our 3. Okay, so there's some things that clean up here. I don't know how to say this person's first name or last name, but I'm gonna try it. Boyda? Did I say that right? Boyda scored in the 63rd
That's John
minute.
Warner. Question.
Yeah, Boyda scored in the 63rd minute of the game, and that ultimately was the only score we needed. So Zach, let me ask you this: one, because I keep forgetting that we have a Philadelphia soccer team, because I forget sometimes. But 2, how do you think this game went for the team? John told me that New York was a really good team they just beat.
No, they weren't. So they were in Philadelphia territory the majority of the game. They were pressing. The goalie there were some defensive slip ups, but the goalie saved them. I mean, soccer is a fascinating sport as far as how many goals you're able to get defensively. It's pretty important, but similar to hockey, you want to keep pressing it on the other side of the field. I only had an opportunity to watch the last 40 minutes or so, and they had about a 5 or 6 minute extension. At the end of the game, they'd already scored by the 40-something minute in the first half of the game. They already had the lead. So the defense was big. The defense was big in the second half, and I like that. I like seeing it moving forward. I'm going to continue paying attention to it and trying to do my best to understand it. But I'm impressed so far. I like the start for Philly sports, and I hope this will continue with the other sports as well. But also, Gavin, another thing we want to note too: all the players before the game taking a knee in honor and continuing to move forward with our social injustice issues in this country. So I think that was a good gesture as well. I like the soccer opening it up, doing that. I hope to see that moving forward with the other sports, continuing to raise awareness and continuing to do things. But other than that, no, I'm very impressed with how it started. They're in a bubble in Orlando, similar to how the NBA is. Hopefully, this can continue to be successful. We hope no positive cases, obviously. Still in a pandemic. We got to make sure we don't ignore that. But no, other than that, I'm very impressed. I'm very happy with how this game went. I'm glad they won. And yeah, it was a good team to beat. So hopefully they can keep beating the teams they're supposed to beat and competing with the good teams. That's how it works if you want to be a successful team moving forward especially with soccer.
Well, yeah, soccer's it's a difficult sport, man. One time I was playing, one time I got the ball all the way down to the other end, sir, and someone kicked it all the way back, and you got to run all the way back. That's the only knock I have against soccer. It's just a lot of running. I'm not built for all that. But no, I think this is gonna be a great season for the reunion. I have to ask John Warner when he gets on here. John's gonna, break down everything for us. He's the soccer guy, soccer insider. But I applaud the MLS for continuing to go through their plan. As you know, President Trump, does what he does best is speak out against and always says his little, I guess I'm not gonna be watching soccer. Well, guess what? Don't watch it then. I'm glad, they stuck through their plan on kneeing, and they stuck with the original plan, the knee, and to continue to spread awareness. And I hope they continue to go on every game and do it. This needs to be voiced and this needs to be heard. And I applaud the MLS. I want to say the league commissioner for not taking away their right to do that. As we've seen the NBA do it before, and that's the only knock I had against Adam Silver back in 2016 when he said all players must stand. So LeBron and all teams they locked arms, which I hope he goes back on that this year in the bubble because I'll be really disappointed if he doesn't because we always say he's a great commissioner, but that's the only knock I had against him was that. Same thing with NFL. Hope the NFL does the same thing. But good. Like I said, applaud. I'm gonna have to watch a lot of MLS this year.
It's sports. Sports are back. We're going to do whatever we can to watch and cherish them, especially when amidst the pandemic, it's been tough. And so for us starting a sports talk show when there's no sports, it really tests how much we can talk about. But hey, we're getting there. So I'm excited. Again, they play Toronto, I believe, next, which is another good team. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they can continue to repeat the success and try to get possession on the other side of the field. That's more important. The time possession. How much time are you able to force on the other side of the field and put the pressure on the other defense? But the pressure was on the Union defense today. They prevailed. Didn't let any goals in. They had their lead early in the game and they maintained it throughout the whole game. So I'm very impressed with how this first game was for them.
I'm happy. I can't wait to see more, and I can't wait for John to come on and break down the game even more for me.
I look forward to it. It's going to be an exciting show. Again, folks, keep tuned with us for that so that we can actually continue that discussion. But so let's keep talking about it then. Talking about the Philadelphia 76ers cracking through that. Sixers are beginning to prepare for the bubble. They've been practicing a little bit jointly. They're going to be going down, I believe, 36 hours. They have to wait in the hotel room. Not the best quality food during that time, but they're getting tested during that, getting the isolation. And then they will be formally admitted to the bubble early next week. So, Gavin, I'll ask you this question first. Obviously, we're starting to see the bubble. How confident are you the bubble is going to work? And second, how confident are you that the Sixers can succeed in this bubble?
First of all, I saw a lot of guys bringing their game systems down. DeAndre Ayton was carrying his monitor. Gordon Hayward set it up. I know Ben Simmons is going to bring his. I think Joel Embiid might be the gamer at the end of the day. So they're going to try their best to stay in the bubble. Am I confident in the bubble? No. You know why? Because there's something in the bubble that they're not telling us about. And Zach and I thought about this the other day. Workers, right? Hotel workers, are they staying there too, or are they going to and from home? Because that's a problem right there.
They're going home.
They're going home, exactly. So how can you have a secure bubble if the hotel workers are going home? Not saying that they gotta be stuck there, but that's kind of the whole point of a bubble is everybody gotta be confined together. Quarantine, that's what they're doing. They're quarantining in a hotel room. So I look at that and I say, Adam Silver, there's a problem to your bubble. And also too, I don't see players staying there through the whole bubble. I think some team players might drop out as the bubble goes on because you know what? It's a lot to handle to sit in a hotel room for 6 months or 4 months away from your family. Some people may say, well, you're going to win a championship. But some players, you got the families at home. LeBron has a couple kids at home. Kemba Walker said it was easy for him because he has nobody at home. All he does is sit at home by himself. So he said this is going to be just another day for him. But I agree with Kemba. But, what about the players that have families, that have lives, that have things outside of school? Zach Wheeler said when Arizona was the topic for a disrupted MLB, he said he wasn't going to go because his wife was going to have a baby. And he's going to have to check out the Phillies camp for a little bit anyway when she has the baby. So I don't like the bubble. I've been on against the bubble the whole time it's been brought up. But so the other question for the bubble is I think the Sixers will be prepared. I think the Sixers are a well familiarized team. Our good friend Philly said that the Sixers forward Tobias Harris held Zoom calls every day with the team to kind of to formalize and to kind of have one another's back. And I like that because that's what you got. It's all about trust. You know how I went around the hallway saying big trust? That was for Lamar Jackson. But look, big trust. I trust these dudes. Brett Brown, not so much, buddy. But you know, you got to win it from me. My question for you, Zach, is yesterday the Brooklyn Nets signed Jamal Crawford. Do you think that is going to hurt the Sixers because they didn't get him? Because they could have got him. Could have got a lot of players.
Could have gotten Jared Smith. Could have gotten a few other players. I personally am confident in the personnel they have right now. Obviously, not the coaching as much. But no, Brooklyn's a dumpster fire too. I don't even know who their starting five is going to be. Is it Jamal Crawford? They're dipping into their G League. Almost every player is going to be out. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm exiting by choice as a team. I don't think they should go. They don't even have a coach. Kenny Atkinson was fired. They're a disaster right now. You're going to already see the mess. It better be worth it for them to get KD and Kyrie back next year because they're a disaster right now. I'm not even gonna get into talking about Brooklyn today personally. But no, you asked me if it hurts the Sixers. It can. But Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson, Shake Milton, Josh Richardson having an opportunity to develop more. But here's my next question to you. Do you think Tobias Harris can rise to being the max deal player that we expected him to be?
If you know the money that he kind of improved it a little bit this year. Philly told me multiple times what he was averaging this year. I think
Almost
the
20
big
points.
thing, the key for him, yeah, almost 20 points. The key for him is going to be the playoffs. I think his 3-point shooting his 3-point shot has to work. It has to. We don't have that many shooters. Ben Simmons, you gotta shoot, buddy, but that's a conversation for another day. Joel Embiid, let's take less threes unless you're hitting them. But Tobias Harris and Josh Richardson, you guys are the shooters on the team. You guys, Shake Milton, same thing. I think Shake Milton should start. I'm a firm believer in that. But so to flip the question back on you, how big does Tobias Harris have to be in the playoffs? What would you like Tobias to do in this playoffs?
Need to lose 25 points a game. Needs to be our closer. Needs to be able to take the shot when the rest of the team is struggling. That's his role. I don't think Josh Richardson's mature enough to do that, and that's not a knock on him. He's a young player. He's a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Not a lot of high expectations for him. He's not getting a max deal. Tobias is doing a role player's job, which is great, but he's got to be bigger than that. He's got to do what Jimmy did for us last year, late in games. Let Ben and Joel handle the game, but when it matters the most, put the ball in your hands, Tobias, and do your job. So, and my question pretty much answered from you then. We're looking at a starting five of Ben Simmons, Shake Milton, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid with Al Horford coming off the bench. Mike Scott's probably getting buried in there. We're looking at Glenn Robinson and Alec Burks. I think Burks potentially, too, could be a guy that can come in and start at the guard position as well. But we'll see what happens. Maybe they can get creative. These last 8 games, they have a chance. Brett Brown can redeem himself, kind of. But, we'll go from there.
And look, all we can do is hope and pray. You know what I'm saying? The Sixers always have something wrong, or they always do something well, and then they spiral off, and then they lose. Or I don't know. It's a lot. I don't think me personally, I want to see Joel Embiid play those 4 games, and I wanted to see him sit those 4 games, the rest of the 4 games. I don't think there's no point really for them to really tire out Embiid. Same thing with Ben Simmons. Let's preserve these guys. We already know Brooklyn's going to lose a lot of games coming up, so the rankings are going to go up for everybody. So we'll probably get a higher seed than what we are, unless Brooklyn's behind us, which it won't really matter for us. So I think I would like to see what's going to go down. I think the Sixers will be just fine. Like I said before, and I'll say it again. This is a time where everyone in the league is at 0, meaning no one has played basketball that we know of. We don't know if players have secret, games, because that's the rumor was. Everybody's starting from 0. Giannis, LeBron, Joel, Ben, Kemba, everybody in Boston, Harden, everybody's at 0. If there is a time the Sixers to win a championship, it might be right now. No one's on a hot streak. No one, no one hasn't seen anybody in a long time. So this is the perfect time to do it. I think if there's a time for the Sixers to go to the finals, it's now. I know it's not going to be for the home crowd, but this is the time to do it. The playing field is even. And there's a great chance.
Make a valid point. I definitely agree with you on that one. Joel Embiid also stated he's not fond of the bubble from a personal level, but he's willing to go. Do you think that's all talk, or does that prove Joel Embiid's determination to actually come out and contest for a championship?
I believe it. And before I go into Joel Embiid, I just want to say, Kendrick Perkins, how dare you, man? Come on now. If you were Kendrick Perkins, if you were to still play and go into the bubble, you would have the same type of feeling as well. I know Kendrick Perkins wouldn't go right away. Heck, I'm not knocking Kendrick Perkins. I think Kendrick Perkins is a great dude. But to go out here and call Joel B. Bass a crybaby about the bubble, Kendrick, let me ask you. And I know you probably wouldn't hear this, but if we can get this to you somehow, some way, I want you to answer. And I
Yeah,
want you to
tweet him
add
out
me
at
to it.
Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, at
He's heavily
Kendrick
regulated
Perkins.
on that.
At, at Kendrick Perkins. How dare you? Would you, if you were playing right now and you had to leave, Joe, I know Joe Embiid doesn't have a kid, but I know he has a girlfriend or something, or he's leaving somebody. If you were Kendrick Perkins and you knew you had to go into the bubble, but you have a family, would you be saying the same thing Joe Embiid is? I think you would. So how dare you? It's easy for a guy that can sit at his house all day long. All he has to do is just get in front of a screen and talk on ESPN. You only have to leave your house. This man has to leave. And not to mention, but I'm going to mention anyway, Kendrick, what you're doing right now, you have low risk. All right, you should not be catching the virus. Joel Embiid has to travel with everybody. Two, has to go to a state where cases are rising, and three, he has to stay there for a couple months, which is kind of hard for some players that that miss things. Might get homesick. Joel Embiid's from Cameron from Africa, so we don't know how Joel Embiid feels. So to go into Joel Embiid, I like this. I like what he said because that shows that because he could have said, I don't know, I don't know if I want to go. I don't like the bubble idea. I think I'm gonna sit up. He wants to win. That shows this documentary that he watched he has another mentality that we never seen Joel Embiid have before. I think it's good. I think it's good what he said. I like what he said. It goes to show that he wants to win. He's just going because he wants to win. He's not going because his team is going. He's going because he wants to win, and they're going.
I agree, and I honestly think that Joel Embiid's going to be hungry. I think Ben's going to be ready. I think that they have to show up. So our final part before we get to our last segment of the day is Eastern Conference Finals predictions and Western Conference Finals predictions. Let's assume the Sixers do get the 4 seed. They're currently at the 6 seed right now, but let's assume that the Sixers are at the 4. But other than that, Gavin, I'll let you go first. Start the Eastern Conference and then go Western Conference, and then I'll go, and then have our final segment of the day.
I wouldn't be surprised if it either Milwaukee versus Sixers, if somehow that's possible. I don't know the standings off my head, but if Milwaukee versus Sixers or Boston versus Sixers, wouldn't that be good? If you beat Boston, go to the finals, and on the Western Conference side, it might be LA, a battle LA in Orlando, which kind of loses the meaning of the whole battle. But hey, I think Kawhi wins that in 7. I know you don't like what I just said there, and I know a whole bunch of LeBron fans are now angry and are about to start typing in the chat. But hold on, let me just explain something. You gotta look at the team. You gotta look who's well rounded. I look at the Boston Celtics, and you can say, well, they have a great chance to go, but the Sixers match up well against them as well. So I think my Eastern Conference, it could be I had the Sixers in it, but it could be against Boston or it could be against Milwaukee. And for the West, I got Lakers and Clippers. If I had to throw another one in there, I say either the Houston Rockets and the Clippers.
Pretty fair. Unfortunately, I'm not going to base my predictions off of what could happen for the Sixers. I'm going to base it off what we know, and Sixers are not making the Eastern Conference Finals based on what we've seen. I have no confidence in them right now. It can change, probably will change, but I'm going to base it off what I know. Boston and Milwaukee, I think, and I think it's going to 5 or 6 games. I don't know who's going to stop Giannis on that team. Again, just because they're the most perfectly rounded team does not mean that they're going to win because there's mismatches out there. For example, Kemba Walker's 6 foot, Gavin 6'1", Ben Simmons is 6'10". There's a
I thought it was
mismatch
like
right
five
there.
eleven.
Is he that short? I mean, he's not tall. He's definitely got more of the Allen Iverson size in him, Isaiah Thomas, guys like that. They're a great rounded team, but they're not good enough to get there yet. I'm very
Which
excited to
foot?
see how good Boston can be. But what's up? I'm taking Milwaukee. I'm taking Milwaukee to the finals.
I got a little stat check for you. 6 foot. Kemba Walker 6 foot.
6 foot. And then for the Western Conference, I'm taking LA versus LA. Gavin, I'm going to agree with you that the Clippers will win that series. I think that they're a better team. Avery Bradley's not going. J.R. Smith has not played in a year. And the Clippers are a lot deeper, and their coaching is much better. So I'm going to take the Clippers in 5, 6, or could potentially be 7 games.
I
Now,
think,
Gavin,
yeah.
maybe that might be an evil plan of mine where if LeBron does win, you're not going to hear the end of it from me. So we're going to have some exciting stuff coming up. But no, definitely. I think I'm definitely seeing the Clippers beating the Milwaukee Bucks in 6 or 7 games. It's going to be a very good, exciting playoff run. Can Giannis get his revenge on Kawhi? And can Kawhi win back-to-back with different teams? And so my question to you now, Gavin, where does Kawhi rank on current players if he wins the finals this year?
All time, like all time right now,
Currently,
or
present players, including LeBron, including Giannis.
just this year, or just like, are we not talking recent years? Because if we're talking about past years as well, there's some other players that can enter this. If we just talk about this year, then I think I know where I got them.
All right, yep.
So if it's just this year, I think top 5.
Okay.
I think for the best players this year, I think it goes Giannis 1, LeBron 2, Kawhi 3. You could say Anthony Davis 4, and James Harden 5. Um, you could make a case for someone else at the 5th spot, or anyone else. Um, if you want to go in the past decade, I think LeBron 1. I think Steph Curry 2. I think Kevin Durant 3. Maybe Russell Westbrook 4 and Giannis 5, or you could switch those two. Maybe not even Russell Westbrook would say. You can throw someone else in there. I could see the facial expression. You didn't really like that one, so but that's just me
I'll
personally.
tell you. I think the first 3 were correct. And like LeBron, Steph Curry. Who was your third one? It was
It
LeBron,
was
Curry, and Giannis, right?
I think
Or Kevin
I
Durant.
think
Kevin
Kevin
Durant.
Durant.
I agree with that. I agree with your first 3. I'll put Kawhi at 4 if he wins the finals this year. Kawhi at 4, and then I might put James Harden 5. The reason I can't put a guy who hasn't won the NBA Finals yet. Maybe that's tended to change, but I can't put a guy like that over a guy who's already won 2, potentially 3 NBA Finals, including back-to-back. So, but no, we'll make that list definitely at the end of the year. I mean,
No.
Steph Curry obviously great, Kevin Durant, LeBron James obviously up there as well, and Giannis is on his way up. He's still up and coming, I think. So that's going to be fascinating during his free agency also to see where he goes.
Now, would that be that list you just said right there for yourself? Is that for this past decade, or is that this year? Because this year is different for me because I don't have Curry in there because he missed
Decade.
time.
Steph Curry's not on this year. Steph Curry's not on this list. That's
Okay.
decade. But Kevin Durant's there too. I agree.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna have to continue that conversation definitely. Maybe if LeBron beats the Clippers, my conversation gets stronger. We're gonna find out. Our final discussion today: Malik Jackson, the defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles, is not happy right now with the safety precautions. Not very clean cut. We're gonna break all that down in our final segment following this announcement. Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this. We bring back Gavin. I do have a quick announcement that we are going to make prior to our discussion about Malik Jackson and some of the safety precautions. Speaking on that, I have here an announcement. The NFL teams will be forbidding post-game interactions within 6 feet of each other, and jersey exchanges between players will be prohibited during the 2020 season. Now, that's not the only part. I'm going to mention the part that Darius Slay tweeted. So we can tackle each other for 60 minutes, but can't exchange jerseys that take 2 minutes. Gavin, some initial thoughts from you.
Yeah, and unless it's banned, no parking in the stadium parking lot for players. Let's just ban. You know what? Since we're just banning stupid stuff, how about this? Zach? How about we just ban no security either? Oh, and on top of that, let's just ban the locker room. Let's just have players show up in their gear and ready to go. That's stupid, Roger Goodell. That is so stupid. Darius Slay makes a valid point. We're tackling each other for 60 minutes. The person I just destroyed on a football field, and he respects me in the game, and I can't give him my jersey. That's stupid, man. Now, once again, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know as Switch World what we're doing. They're just banning dumb stuff now. How about I could see if they would say something about like maybe no post game, media. I could see that. Because that's like it's like 50 people in one room. I
Because
can
you're
understand
exposing
that.
the media, right? But
Yeah,
if
expose the
Darius
media.
Slay is going to have Terry McLaurin for the entire game, like why can't you exchange jerseys at the end?
Yeah, you know what,
Is
Roger
it, like,
Goodell?
is it going to be like a 6 foot tackle? Like, all right, I got you. He's down. He's down over there. I touched
Oh my
him 6 feet
God,
apart. That's
I
not how it's
can't
going to
take him.
work.
I can't give him my jersey. My jersey has to be washed before I can give it to you. Come on, Roger. That is so dumb. That is, you know what? The NFL has done some stupid things over the year, and that has to top it right there. That's got to be up there
Brand new
for
for this
dumbest thing I've
too.
ever heard. That is so whack. So what? So
I
what? What
do.
is
I do have one more announcement, not NFL related, but Nikola Jokic has reportedly lost 40 pounds during quarantine. That's a lot of weight for a big man.
a lot of weight for a big man to lose? A lot
We
of
should do
weight.
a segment that's called going through my Instagram feed to see what kind of sports we can find. But other than that, I don't see anything else that's major. We're gonna get
Nonsense.
into our final
Nonsense.
discussion. Malik Jackson scored a touchdown against the Panthers in the Super Bowl on the Von Miller strip. Thanks, Cam Newton, for going for that one, but I'm just kidding. I'm a big Cam Newton fan, actually. But
So
going
am I.
back to it, Malik Jackson, Gavin, I'll let you get some thoughts first. Malik Jackson said that he does not feel comfortable going back to camp because the NFL has not outlined many safety precautions the same way that the other sports have. We just kind of talked about some of that. But Gavin, what are some thoughts?
Says the guy that collected $11 million for not doing anything. I get it. I get it. The coronavirus is scary. I get it. You want to be safe when you go to practice. But dude, you got $11 million and haven't done a single thing. A single thing for us. Not one thing. You have not tackled one person in the Eagles uniform. Not one. Not one person. And I get it. I get it. You're probably like, that's a little unfair, the coronavirus, no one knows what it does. Zach, we look at numbers every day. Every day. This young man is what, 30, 28 tops? He's still in great condition. He's healthy. He's an athlete. He's healthier than me and you. Like, and if you're that scared, then give the
30
Eagles
years
some money
old.
back for this year then. Yeah, 30 years old. Dude, I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because you know why I don't want to hear it? Because you just fell in the line of baseball. You just said something that's so just blasphemous, dude. Like, it was, here we go. Here I go again. And I'm going to say it once. And I'm going to say it again. And Zach, you probably agree with me what I'm about to say. If this was a person at a grocery store or someone on the front line, I could totally understand that. Because you're dealing with this virus front in and front out. Dude, when you come into the building, they're going to already test you and they're going to do all the safety precautions that is. All you got to do is show up and play. That's all we're asking. You have not played one game in the Eagles uniform. I have not seen a tackle stat line that said Malik Jackson got a sack. I have not seen that. You collected $11 million to just sit down. Honestly, I'm disgusted by this. Give us the money back and just bounce then. If that's how you feel, because I don't know. This is like borderline baseball right here.
Right. And one thing, too, that we like to declare on this show, we like to give you the facts prior to forming our opinions to allow you to have an opportunity. I have the actual statement from Malik Jackson. I'm going to read it off now in our final few minutes. At NFLPA, it is unacceptable and utterly disrespectful for the owners to have set a camp start date of July 28th with no safety/financial guarantee agreed upon for us as players, the backbone of the industry. Today is July 8th, and we have no answers to simple questions we've been asking since the pandemic started. We, as players, are some fathers and brothers wanting to protect our families during this unprecedented time. As pro athletes, we are willing to juggle the risk of our careers, the stress of the game on our minds and bodies, and most importantly, making sure we don't neglect our families. Now you want us to weigh putting food on the table the best way we know how, which could potentially catch the killer virus and bring it home or starve. I cannot pass rush from 6 feet away. I cannot defeat a double team from 6 feet away, and nor can I tackle someone from 6 feet away. This sport in any way is not meant to be played 6 feet apart, let alone stop the transfer of sweat and blood. Respectfully, every owner over 40 is understandable and will probably not be able to be out there with us on the field nor in the building. I ask in this moment to see us as people, not financial burdens or roster spots, health as wealth for both parties. Gavin, do you consider comments like this to be aligned with Blake Snell, the way that he overemphasizes food on the table and a few things like that?
No, I did not. And I'm going to take it to agree. You know what, Malik Jackson, I'm 50% sorry. 50% sorry because you make a valid point. See us as players. See us as people, not players. and I'm 50% sorry. You're right. A lot of them are family men. You know, you come home, you don't want to bring it home. I get that. I really do. You said something about financial, and this is why I'm not sorry. Once again, you collected money. You haven't played not once. I don't want to hear a word from you at least about money from you at least. Now everything else he said about family and everything. You know me, Zach. I'm a family guy. All right. You know, I get it. I get it. You want to be seen as people, not players at the moment, not roster spots. I get it. You can't defeat a double team. The sport is not meant to be played 6 feet away. You know what? He said something about sweat transfer. Wear long sleeves. Wear long sleeves. That's one way you can stop sweat transfers. Wear long sleeves and wear a headband. And I can't help you with the rest. I can't help you with the rest of that. But that's the only option I got for you right there. Now, Zach, let me ask you this question. Do you feel the same way I feel about it, or do you have a different way? Because the way I think of it is like, it's like, once again, it's like he was right. And as soon as you brought up money, that's where I kind of lost it again.
Humane perspective, I agree with you. You could have a kid at home who has a weakened immune
Yes,
system. If you're a player that's struggling, again, in this case, I don't think he's speaking on behalf of them the same way Blake Snell was saying he had to go get his. If there's players out there who are trying to make a name for themselves, or they're rookies, or they're second-year guys, or undrafted free agents trying to prove themselves, it's a great opportunity to do so you can put food on the table. He made it sound like you either catch the virus and die, or your family starves because you're not getting paid. He's not in any financial position to say that. But
exactly.
I do respect him as far as if he doesn't feel comfortable going, make an action by not going. Blake Snell tweeted when and where. So obviously he didn't feel like it was big enough of a risk to not go play. Again, the numbers don't lie. Fortunately, the death rate's been down. I'm not going to speak from the perspective of a scientist or the perspective of potentially bringing it home to your family. But the second you make the argument that it's either catch this virus and die, which, again, young and healthy, we're not going to make assumptions, but the numbers are the numbers, or starve and not be able to feed your family. $11 million is a lot of money, Malik. And I mean, there's people out there who are risking their lives not making that much money. So it's about perspective. And yes, I agree with this. All players are human before they're players. I agree with that. And that's why Roger Goodell and all of them should not punish the players the same way Adam Silver did by saying if you don't feel comfortable coming, you don't have to. I think the NFLP, I think they should make sure they do outline before the people return to camp, outline the guidelines of what needs to be done. Let the players read it, let them digest it, and let them decide if it's worth the risk. And if not, do not punish the players. But at the same time, it's up to the player's decision. So those are my final thoughts on that topic. We'll continue to break it down some more. Gavin, go ahead.
Real quick, NFL plans temperature checks. Anyone with bench assets and a temp higher than 100.4, which is a fever, in pregame screening won't be allowed inside enter in the stadium. Also, too, I would say this from a humane point, like you said, sir, you're right. But once money's brought into it, I think of the frontline workers. I think of all the people that are working
Yep.
every day,
All
and
essential
that's when you
workers.
lose me. You said it's either catch a virus and die, or feed. I'm pretty sure, Malik, you collect a lot of money for not doing anything this last 2 years.
Yep.
So you know what? I calmed down a little bit when I first heard that, and I listened to the statement. He's 50% on each way. He's right and he's wrong. He's right on the humane side, like you said, but he's wrong when you brought up money. A lot of these players, majority of these players, can go a whole year without playing football, and their family will still eat. Let's see a essential worker that's been working since the virus started. Let's see if they can go a whole year without working. Let's see where they are at the end of that year. Malik, come on now. You know better than that. Don't speak on the money side. I said the same thing for Blake Snell. I'm gonna say the same thing to you. Even though you're Eagle, I'm gonna say the same thing to you, and I'll continue saying that. People that don't make the money you make cannot miss time. They cannot
Yep.
miss people.
And
There's
for them,
people
there might be less safety precautions. There might just be a mask and plexiglass like it is for
exactly
some of our great heroes that are working in
yeah.
grocery stores. Or the frontline workers who might have cheaper equipment because they don't have enough and they're currently struggling when they're working with people who have the coronavirus. Again, you're human first, but it's about perspective. And one final point I want to point out to our viewers too: you can half agree with someone and half disagree with someone, and that's what our
That's what you
situation
said
is
right
here.
there. Yeah.
From the humane part, we agree with him, and essential
Yeah.
workers, thank you. Everyone out there, again, we always want to thank you. We hope that we can do whatever we can to help and make your lives easier, and for us to make sure we can do our part. So Thank you again, everyone. Gavin, some final thoughts from you before we finish.
Yeah, one last on the Malik Jackson thing. I know a lot of essential workers. I know a lot of them that have been working through this whole time. Some are family members, and some are friends. Thank y'all. For those I don't even meet or don't even know, thank you. For those that didn't get their stimulus check yet and that are struggling to survive past this time, I'm sorry, and your time is coming. For Malik Jackson, who made a point about money, or no, for Malik Jackson, who made a point about humane, I thank you. For Blake Snell, Bryce Harper, and Malik Jackson, who made a point about money, I can't rock with you on that one because you're wrong. You're wrong. You guys can miss a year and be fine. Final remarks. Today's a great day, Zach. I might go for a walk, but there's a lot of great things you could do today. What are you planning on doing today, sir?
Outside of playing golf, not much else. I do some baseball tonight, actually. But Gavin, anything else you plan on doing today?
I plan on going downstairs, about to go eat something, maybe go for a walk. But what would be a great day for today?
What's that, Gavin?
You know what would be a great thing to do? Arrest Breonna Taylor's killers. And I find it crazy, Zach. Now that we're going back to basically the beginning part of the show, I find it crazy that in the Philadelphia protests, they were able to find the people that set a police car on fire. You know how hard it is to do that, to find someone that you didn't know their name was, and they found them, and they're probably going to get them for arson and all that stuff, and destruction and the government property and all that. But you're telling me the people that you have names of, you can't arrest? See, this is another thing that's wrong with America. I'm not going to get into that today, but that's a great day to do that. Today was a great day to do it. Tomorrow's a great day to do it, and heck, to the time she passed away to right now, those are perfect days to do it too. So why not? What's the excuse? A life was taken. From what I understood when I was growing up, if you kill somebody, there should be consequences, and they should be going to jail. Especially if you know this person did it, and if you know this stuff happened, they should be going to jail. Even though her name is not trending, ladies and gentlemen, it's still justice for Brianna. So Brianna, I'm one of the things I'm going to keep talking about. So hey, it happens, and I hope it happens pretty soon. If not, I'm really disgusted. But final remarks. Everybody have a great day.
Make sure the conversation continues. Do not let the lack of conversation on social media stop you from believing and doing what's right for yourself, family first, obviously, and helping out your fellow people. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to today's show. Should be exciting tomorrow, our Friday special as we wrap up week 5. Again, thanks, everybody,
Yes, sir.
especially to our essential workers out there. Thank you, everybody.
We
We know
love
it's a
y'all.
tough time, and that's why we wanted to start the show the time we did. So thanks.